What's up everybody, Chadley here, and today we have a new flak build for you guys, and this is Frosted Flak. This is our Cryo Flak build. It is a Rakk Attack build based around Cryo, but without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump right into the gun. So first off, we are going to be using a Cryo Redistributor. This is really good for mobbing. This is going to be your go-to for any sort of high density areas. Our anointment on this is 100% Rakk Attack. Ideally, we would want 100% on action skill end. This would allow us to do damage to everybody, not just the people we hit with Rakk Attack. But Rakk Attack is a good second choice, so that's why we are using that. I just don't have 100% ASE one. But moving down, we have the Hyper Focus. This one is obviously in Cryo and has Rakk Attack. This thing destroys enemies, especially kind of big beefy ones, and it is so nice. We're gonna run through the anvil here in just a couple minutes, and this is gonna be my main weapon on the warden, so just keep that in mind. This thing seriously shreds. It's really good. Then moving down, we have a Cryo Boomsicle with 100% Rakk Attack. This thing just shreds. The new Boomsicle is nuts. I highly recommend trying to get your guys' hands on one. I know it's a little bit of a difficult farm because the warden is pretty annoying to farm, and also this drop rate is pretty low, but I definitely recommend getting your hands on it as it does do a bunch of damage. And then moving down, we do have a Cryo Lob with 50% bonus Cryo. I don't have 100% on action skill end one that is in Cryo, but this does just fine. A unanointed lob still does perfectly fine. The lob does so much damage, it doesn't need an anointment. But if you guys want to get super overkill, definitely go find that 100% ASE Cryo Lob, and you guys will be good to go. And then moving down to our shield, we have the Frozen Heart with 50% bonus shock. So the Frozen Heart, when your shield breaks, it's going to release a Nova, and everybody around you is going to instantly freeze. And all the damage you did with that Nova is going to come back as health. So not only does it make it so you don't really die from the enemies, you also heal right back up to full health. So this shield is actually really good and very underrated for flak. So that's why we are using the Frozen Heart. And then for our grenade, we have Its Piss with bonus corrosive. Now obviously the type of enemies you're fighting, the anointment on here is going to change. But if you guys don't want to use Its Piss and you guys want to stick more just full out cryo theme, a Cryo Hex works amazing. This freezes enemies super fast on top of all of your other guns, and everybody's just going to be frozen solid all the time. And then for our class mod, I like the Cosmic Stalker. This thing actually ends up giving you so much damage, especially in the takedown when there's always enemies. Like even during the boss fights, there is always enemies to be killing, and you guys are going to get that bonus damage from Interplanetary Stalker and stuff like that. But if you guys are just doing like normal bossing, I would just do like a Bounty Hunter or a Deadeye. Preferably a good rolled Bounty Hunter is probably better than your Deadeye, but the Cosmic Stalker is great for everything, especially the takedown. Like during the Wotan fight, you get a ton of extra damage during that fight because you get to kill robots. So you guys get the robot bonus of Interplanetary Stalker, and it's gonna help you do more damage to Wotan. And then for our artifact, I actually have the wrong one on. So ideally, you guys are going to be wanting to use the Icebreaker Auto Idol. It's going to allow you to do more damage and freeze enemies quicker. So that's why we want to use that. But if you guys really don't like moving that slow, Snowdrift Auto Idol is definitely your next best bet. And during the Wotan fight, it's going to be up to you guys. If you guys have trouble staying out of the little targeting circles, I would put on the Snowdrift Auto Idol, especially because you can't freeze Wotan anyways with the Icebreaker. Like you're not going to get any extra damage on Wotan. So I personally even just switched to the Snowdrift during the Wotan fight, but it's completely up to you what you want to do. That's just my 2 cents on that. But let's go ahead and jump into our skills super fast. We're going to start here in our Hunter skill tree. We're going to put 5 points into Interplanetary Stalker, because we are using a Cosmic Stalker, and this thing is just going to ramp up our damage so fast. And then 3 points into Leave No Trace, 2 points into Second Intention, just because we do have to reload fairly often with our guns. And then 3 points in Head Count for getting our racks back like that, so you guys can just spam them constantly. 5 points into Two Fang for that extra projectile chance. 3 points into big game for boosting our hunter skills, 3 points into most dangerous game, 1 point into galactic shadow, and 1 point into megavore, obviously, because this is definitely Flak's best skill. And like I said, we are using Rakks, and our augments for it is going to be Rakk Open a Cold One and Flock and Load. If you guys want to use Falconer's Feast, you can. Falconer's Feast really just does not offer enough healing, especially in something like the Takedown, to really be worth it. I'd rather just kind of freeze the enemies with Rakk Open a Cold One. But if you guys really want that little bit extra healing, more than welcome to put on Falconer's Feast. But then let's go ahead and move on to our blue skill tree. We're going to put 3 points in Persistence Hunter and then just 1 point on each side of it into these pet skills just to get us down to tier 2. And then there, we're going to do 5 points into Frenzy, 1 point into He Bites to proc our Frenzy whenever our pet is getting shot, and then 4 points into Who Rescued Who just to keep our pet alive, 5 points into Barbaric Yacht, 3 points into Pack Tactics, and 1 point into Shared Spirit to help you guys stay alive when you get low health. And then our pet, we are going to be using the Great Horn Skag. And then for our final point, just for the most damage out of the skills that we have left, we're going to do 1 point into Furious Attack. This is going to get us to 4% gun damage. And then that's also going to be boosted by Big Game because this is a hunter skill. If you guys want the full overview of the tree, I'm going to have a screenshot up right now that shows all trees right at the same time with all the skills allocated, so you guys can go off of that. But otherwise, let's just go over a couple more pieces of gear that you guys can use. A Cryo Dictator does work pretty well. If you guys want to get super insane with the mobbing, I'm just personally tired of using it. You can use a recursion that has cryo on it. So a single target, if you hit them with the cryo, they're most likely just going to instantly freeze. It's really cool. And then otherwise, when there are a ton of enemies, everybody's just going to die. It's insane. If they somehow don't die, they're going to be frozen. So a cryo recursion seriously goes insane with this, but I'm just personally tired of using it. If you guys just want the most output possible out of this build, definitely just throw on a recursion. You guys can throw it in like the boom sickle spot or whatever you'd like and just run that. So that works pretty well. Then obviously, if you guys are fighting something that's like resistant to cryo, like Trant, or you guys are fighting Graveward, just throw on some fire. Like there's no shame in doing that with this build. If you guys don't want to use pure cryo all the time, this is still a very good Rakk Attack build. Just go ahead and throw on whatever element guns you want. But otherwise, in the save file, we do have a couple other cryo weapons for you guys. And overall, if you guys want to download it, you have all these to play with and have fun with. This ion cannon goes a little nuts. It even destroys Wotan and he resists cryo, so that's pretty cool. But otherwise, let me just run through the anvil here and you guys can see how this build works and I can show you guys how to play it. So real quick, our modifiers right now are sniper damage and enemy fire rate, so nothing is going to be helping us out. Like I said, we use the redistributor for mobbing, hyper focus for kind of like single targets and some bosses that have armor works very well. I like using this on Wotan. Boom sickle for just any beefy enemy or anybody you really want to die in like 2 shots. And then we also have the lob because it is the lob and the lob is so much fun. But otherwise, we're just going to hit people with our Rakks, and even the redistributor with the Rakk Attack Anointment, you can tear through some single target enemies, but like this hardened Tank, the single target on him with the redistributor does not work out that well. So I would switch over to like the hyper focus or boom sickle for him. Now, unfortunately, none of these enemies are like that close to each other, so it's a little hard to show off the redistributor at its full power. Right there, you guys could kind of see how well it starts working. And hang on, let me get rid of our sniper guy up here. There we go. We can keep moving on. Let's try out the boom sickle here on this militant. And you can see it just one taps him after we got the Rakk Attack Anointment active on him. So it works very well. I really like the boom sickle. Now, one thing to note with this build, it is still a Rakk Attack build. There's nothing, you know, too crazy about it in that regards. Rakk Attack is definitely Flak's squishiest class, as you can see right there. All the enemies are always going to be targeting you. It's not like Gamma Burst where you can have a red fang on and nobody's going to shoot at you ever, or with Fade Away and you go invisible. So just keep that in mind. You can't really stand right in the middle of everybody, but as you guys can see, that boomstickle just destroyed those 2 anointed guys that we were facing. So that is why I highly recommend that. We've just been making our way to the warden. We're almost outside his little arena right here, going across the bridge. Just want to show you guys the hyper focus a little bit more. Also, if you guys start racking up enough kills on humans, you guys can actually get your Rakk attacks doing a good amount of damage. Right there, we killed him with purely Rakk attacks. So this is really good. And so a change I've always wanted with Falconer's Feast is it's a lifesteal based off of the damage your Rakks do. So if maybe one day that ever gets changed, this build could be probably one of the better flak builds, because you could basically stay alive as much as you want. The Rakks do so much damage that you guys would get full health after every Rakk cast. Okay, we're over here at the warden, and personally for this fight, I just use the hyper focus the whole time. I do like to have bonus incendiary on our grenade for this, and yeah. If you guys really want to maximize, you could just put like radiation on your shield. I still have shock, but it really doesn't matter. It really doesn't. You guys can just tear through them in just a second or two anyways. And then if you throw its piss, it's basically like instant down to his next immune phase, and his health still gets shredded apart. So here we go down to his last phase here. We're gonna it's piss him and do our Rakk slag, and he's gone just like that. And this was just all cryo. Obviously, if you really want to maximize your damage, just match all of the elements to the type of enemy you're facing. You guys will have no issues, because this can just easily be converted into just a normal Rakk attack build. But I think it's fun to use all the cryo, and I'm not gonna lie, this thing still destroys the takedown. Wotan dies very fast even with all these cryo weapons. If you guys really want to make it even faster, just go ahead and throw on a corrosive. It's completely up to you. But yeah, that's going to wrap it up for our Frosted Flak overview. So if you guys enjoyed this build, make sure to leave a thumbs up on it to let me know. It really helps me out. If you guys want to see more builds, I have a actually insane Moze build in the works right now. Hopefully I can share that later this week. If you guys are interested in that, make sure to hit that subscribe button. But otherwise, hopefully I will see some of you guys over on Twitch. We're live basically every single night. But otherwise, I will catch you guys in the next video. See ya.